You know me, Darryl Bumpass. Listen, I want to talk to you about, I keep hearing people say, I don't have time. First of all, let me say, I thank you and I appreciate you for taking time out of your life and your schedule to spend this moment with me. You know me, Darryl Bumpass. #1 best-selling author, motivational speaker, and certified life coach. My clients like to call me a certified life checker. I guess it's because I'm their conscience. I tell them what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. So again, I would like to discuss this thing that I'm hearing people say, I don't have time. I don't have time. What is that? I know people are dealing with their families, dealing with their husbands, their wives, their kids. Thank you for the hearts. Appreciate you for taking time out of your life and your schedule to spend this moment with me. What is this I'm hearing people say, I don't have time? I don't have time to work out. I don't have time to invest in myself. My question to you, and the question I had to pose to myself, was, you don't have time for a peace of mind? You don't have time for progress? You don't have time to invest in yourself? Then everything that you're doing, everything that's going on in your life, what are you doing it for? If you don't have time to enjoy it. You know, I now realize that you have to work smarter and not harder. You have to work smarter and not harder. When you work smarter, you create time to become more creative in the things that you want to do. The things that you love to do. The things that you need to do. No, I'm sorry, I stand corrected. Lo siento. It's not the things that you need to do, it's the things that you were born to do. Make time for the things that you were born to do. It's time for you to step into your greatness. When you work smarter, you have time to create. When you work harder, you're just like the spinning rims on a car. You're moving, but you're not going anywhere. Do you want activity or productivity? You have to make time for productivity. Activity is the spinning rims. Activity is the treadmill. You're just moving around. You're just running on that treadmill, but you're not going anywhere. Productivity is focus. Focus when you start creating time for your life. When you start creating time for the things that you want to happen, the things that you want to manifest in your life. You know, I remember early on when I wanted to start my own clothing line, my own clothing company. And people would say to me, how are you going to do that? You don't have time for that. You don't have time to start a clothing company. You don't know anything about a clothing company. How are you going to start that? What I would do is I would leave my 9-to-5 and go home and go into my basement and start sewing labels into my shirts. I will go back to my 9-to-5 the next morning. Then I will leave the 9-to-5 and I will start hitting stores and start looking at people that will allow me to bring my pieces into their store, allow me to bring my products into their stores. And believe me, there was a lot of people that told me no. There were a lot of people that told me no, but then there were those that started saying yes. And when one yes came, the other yes started to follow. And as these yeses start to follow, so did more opportunities. My point is, when you start making time, I had to make time. When you start creating time, opportunity will knock. It's so funny that, at times we can ask for the things we want in life. We can ask for the things that we want in life. We can pray for the things that we want in life. But then, when opportunity knocks at the door, we open up the door and what do we say? Not right now. I don't have time. How are you going to ask for these things that you want, but then when the opportunity presents itself, the first thing you say is, I don't have time. You don't have time to invest in yourself. You don't have time to get out of your own way. The left side of my face became paralyzed with Bell palsy some time ago. And if you can see, I still have it. You know what that was telling me? My mind, my body, and my spirit was telling me, you need to start making time for yourself. You have all the time in the world for everyone else, but you don't have time for yourself. If you're no good to yourself, then you're no good to others. If you're no good to yourself, then you're no good to others. It's funny how some of us create so much time for our 9 to 5, but not enough time for our dreams. I know you hear me, but are you listening? There are those of us that can create so much time for the 9 to 5, but not enough time for our dreams, for our passions. I don't have time. I don't have time for this. I don't have time for that. Snap out of it. It's time for you to start creating time. Listen, you can stay over there with the sheep, or you can come over here where the shepherds meet. I know you hear me, but are you listening? You can stay over there with the sheep, or you can come over here where the shepherds meet. Shepherds are leaders, and leaders create time. Leaders create time. Pay attention. I'll show you better than I can tell you. Listen. When I started creating my clothing company, I went to someone that I call my angel on earth. And I thank you and I appreciate you, Linda, and everyone else taking time out of our life to spend this moment and this time with me. So as I was saying, early on when I started my clothing line, I met this angel. And peace to you. Early on, I met this angel. And if any of you guys read my book, you're familiar with the name. Mercedes Gonzalez. Right? Mercedes would send me emails or call me on the phone at any given time and would say to me, we are heading to Peru to go look at the factories, the full packaging factories. Now, if I'm in a clothing business, this is where I need to be. But I could have easily told her, I don't have time. I know you hear me, but are you listening? I could have easily said to her, I don't have time. But I didn't do that. Opportunity was knocking. And I had to say, I'll be there. I'll be on that plane. When Mercedes called me to take this 22-hour flight to Ethiopia so we can look at the cotton that will go into my shirts, my polo shirts. When she called me to go to Colombia, Medellin, Bogota, this angel that walks amongst us, when she called me and said, we're going to go look at these factories so that your clothes can get manufactured over here, I could have easily said, I don't have time. I don't have time. When opportunity knocks, you better be ready. When opportunity knocks, you better make time. You have to create time for progress. You don't want progress? What is this I'm hearing you say, I don't have time? I don't have time to work out. I have the kids to worry about. I have the husband to worry about. I have the wife to worry about. I have the job to worry about. But who's worrying about you? I know you hear me, but are you listening? Who's worrying about you? I don't have time. I don't have time. You don't have time to invest in yourself. You don't have time for a peace of mind. Listen, the decisions that we make now, every decision we make is a generational decision. Generations to come should be able to benefit from the decision that you are making today. So you mean to tell me you don't have time to sit down with a financial advisor? What is this I'm hearing you say, I don't have time? You don't have time for progress. Martin Luther King Jr. says, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you gotta keep moving forward. You don't have time to move forward? What is this I'm hearing you say, I don't have time? You don't have time for success? You don't have time to step into greatness? What is this I'm hearing you say, I don't have time? Then that's telling me that you're just standing still then. Because if you don't have time to invest in yourself, if you don't have time to improve on the things that you want out of life, to go after the things that you want out of life, then that's telling me you're just wasting time. What is this I'm hearing you say, I don't have time? You don't have time to work out? Listen, one of the best days of my life was May 15th, 2015, last year. At my highest weight, I was 310 pounds. And I just lost 80 pounds. I lost 80 pounds. My stomach went from a basketball to a baseball. I went and had the surgery. Some of us may be familiar with it. It's called the sleeve, bariatric sleeve surgery. Listen, I could have easily told myself, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for this. But I had to make an important decision about investing in myself, investing in my future, investing in generations that is to come. Take time to invest in yourself. Take time to invest in your dreams. Take time to invest in your goals. When I told people I was going for the surgery, they said, "You just wasting time." They told me, "You just wasting time. What you going to do that for?" Well, the best thing I could say to them was, "Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that." When I watched my father take his last breath from cancer, it shook my foundation. But it also told me I cannot take time for granted. So when someone tells me I don't have time, listen, let's sit down and talk. I got a couple stories I want to tell you. I thank you and I appreciate you for taking time out of your life and your schedule to spend this moment with me. I watched my father take his last breath from cancer. And it also showed me not to take time for granted. Yeah, it showed me not to take life for granted. Listen, if you're above ground, you're winning. If you're breathing, you're winning. What is this I'm hearing you say, "I don't have time"? As I said to you before, you can stay over there with the sheep, but over here is where the shepherds meet. Yeah, we need to talk. What is this I'm hearing you say, "I don't have time"? Leaders create time. Your blueprint has been drawn out for you before you were born. We just have to stop interfering with it. We just have to stop interfering with it. It's time for you to get out of your own way. It's time for you to invest in yourself. What is this I'm hearing you say, "I don't have time"? You don't have time for a peace of mind? I think most of us here have something in common. I think we all have something in common. And what is that? I think we all just want a peace of mind and happiness. I think we all just want a peace of mind and happiness. But if you're talking yourself into believing you don't have time to create that, you already lost the game. Understand this. This is the biggest game you will ever play in your life. And this is the game of life. Albert Einstein says, "Learn the rules of the game and then play it better than them." If you're telling me you don't have time, that means you are not playing the game. That is telling me you have not learned the rules of the game. What is this I'm hearing you say, "I don't have time"? Okay, I get it. Lo siento, I apologize. I know what you have time for. So you have time for TV, right? You have time for gossip, right? You have time for what's going on at work, right? You have time for what's going on in the family. We have time for what our neighbors are doing. But you don't have time to invest in yourself? I know you hear me, but are you listening? Are you listening? I'm not talking about you. I'm just talking about what I'm talking about. What is this I'm hearing you say? I don't have time. You don't have time for opportunity? But we have time for whatever's coming on TV at 8 o'clock. So let me hurry up and finish so you can get to your shows. Let me hurry up and finish so you can get to the gossip on the telephone. But all I want to say is I implore you to start creating time for your peace of mind. Start creating time for your destiny. Start creating time so that you can step into your own greatness. Look at me. Look at me. I'm no different than you. You have to start creating time for yourself. See, I was the yes man like everybody else out there. Whatever you need, I got you. Don't worry about it. I was a yes man. I had the yes on my chest. I made time for everyone, but I didn't make time for myself. And where did that leave me? With the left side of my face paralyzed. Because I wasn't creating time for myself. Yeah. I love what I do. I love this thing that I do. And what I'm doing right now is talking to you and taking the time out. Hopefully, from my story, I can inspire you to fall in love with yourself and to fall in love with life. Is that too much to ask for? I know you hear me, but are you listening? Is that too much to ask for? All we want is a peace of mind and happiness. Is that too much to ask for? What is this I'm hearing you say? I don't have time. I don't have time. Listen, when I decided I wanted to write my books, or my first book, people told me, you have too much going on, right? They said to me, for one, who wants to hear your story? You don't have time. You have the clothing company. You have other things going on. You have the showroom. You don't have time to be writing a book. You just lost your father. I could have listened to that, but I didn't. I made the time. And I turned the journal into a book. And I turned the book into a bestseller. And I turned the bestseller into a best-selling author. Make the time. You can stay over there with the sheep, but over here is where the shepherd meet. I know you hear me, but are you listening? Create the time. Make the time to step into your greatness. Create the time. Make the time to step into what you were born to do. Not what you are, what you have to do. I know you have to do things to keep the lights on. I get it. Trust me, I get it. I understand. 100%. But I need you to start making time to create the things that you want to do so that you don't have to use the time to do the things that you need to do. Whatever you may be going through, you are bigger than that. Whatever you may be going through, you are bigger than that. And it's all temporary. But I need for you to start speaking the language of your future and not of your past. I need you to start speaking the language of your destiny and not right now. When you say, I don't have time, it's offensive to your blueprint. When you say, I don't have time, you're offending everything that is moving in a direction that you want to go in. So whatever you may be going through, you're bigger than that. It's already being taken care of. You just got to get out of the way. You just got to get out of your own way. You just have to start, creating time. Yeah, I like that. You know, it's a song by Mary, the gospel group, and they says, I know the rodeo might seem long, but I encourage you to hold on. I know the rodeo might seem long, but I encourage you to hold on. Whatever you may be going through, you are bigger than that. And you have to start making time to invest in yourself. Snap out of it. Snap out of it. You know me, Darryl Bumpass, best-selling author, motivational speaker, certified life coach. My clients like to call me a certified life checker. Why is it the life checker? Because I tell them what they need to hear and not what they want to hear. So when I'm speaking to my clients, I emphasize to them, you have to create time for yourself. How can you love anyone else if you don't love yourself first? The left side of my face is paralyzed because I was in love with everyone else and not in love with myself. The left side of my face is paralyzed because I gave all my time to everyone else and not enough to myself. I love what I do. I love being here with you. What is this I'm hearing? You say, I don't have time. But if you don't have time now, then when do you think the time is going to come? Opportunity is knocking at the door right now. Take advantage of it. Right now, ahora. Tu dia, ahora. Take advantage of it right now. Speak the language of your future, which is, I have time to do ... which consists of whatever your passion is. I could have listened to them when I told them I wanted to have surgery to lose this weight. I'm 80 pounds less and I'm shrinking, still shrinking. I don't say that to brag. I say that to let you know you have to invest in yourself. When I created the clothing company and they told me that you don't know anything about fashion, I could have listened to that. They told me you don't have time to put together a clothing company. I could have listened to that, but I didn't. And we turned it and we made it successful. When they told me you don't have the time to be writing a book, nobody wants to read that, I could have listened to that, but I did not. Because I knew that I had it to invest in myself. So as I say this to you, I implore you, take time to invest in yourself. Your blueprint has been drawn for you before you were born. You just have to stop interfering with it, and it's time for you to get out of your own way. It's time for you to get out of your own way. It's time for you to fall in love with yourself. It is time for you to say, this time next year, I would have already did this. This time next year, I will have created that. This time next year, I will have created this. But I'm going to leave you with this, because I don't want to take up any of your time. Ayn Rand says, the question isn't who's going to stop me. I'm sorry, the question isn't who's going to let me. The question is who's going to stop me. The only person that can stop you is you. And when you speak the language of, I don't have time, it's offensive to what has already been planned out there for you before you were born. You know me, Darryl Bumpass, #1 best-selling author, motivational speaker, and certified life coach. I thank you and I appreciate you for taking time out of your life and your schedule to spend this moment with me. Peace.